Lover say you are down. What? Is he crying? Lover say you are down. I seen a blessing that come yes.
Slides door, blogs, and so do suits up till I miss it. If I catch a lady, corner story, mini Draco.
Watch where you walking, bitch.
What did you... Wait a minute. I'm white.
Guys, this is my avatar, Silly Goober. Look, that's Silly Gubby, and that's Release the Gubbies. And yeah, you see here, I'm very retro.
Hi guys, before I start this video, I just wanted to quickly explain the delay. I was originally going to finish making the script, but I had to cancel the schedule due to other reasons, and I started making the script very early before I saw anybody else making a video talking about this topic. This script was not made out of inspiration from other creators who are being insensitive about this topic. So you can consider this to technically have been the first video of a queer neurodivergent person giving their opinion about a style that's minoritized by neurodiverse and queer communities, which is something. It's not the first video ever made talking about it, but it's an achievement of some sorts. Disclaimer, I am neurodivergent and queer. I'm not speaking up for any other disabled or queer person other than myself. If another disabled or queer person respectfully disagrees with me, their opinion is also just as well as mine, and doesn't mean that they're wrong or that I'm right. Their voice and opinion matters too, just as how mine does. I will also be referring to the style as Retroslop, not because I believe it's slop, but because that's just how it's unfortunately known for, and using that name title would just make a lot more sense if I called it a different name. Now, onto the video. Why is it when a group of neurodivergent people who like join whimsies somehow considered as slop for just simply existing? You wouldn't call Decor K, Gyaru, Fairy K, etc. Harajuku slop, or just slop in general, which by the way, most are quite literally worn for most neurodiverse communities. Yet most ableist people who bully neurodivergent people simply for their own interests seem to not mind it. Do their standards of what defines slop not apply when it comes to specific things they like? Are they going against their own critic? Just a weird thing I thought about pointing out, since it seems like to me for most it's just projection. Let me also just emphasize, I'm not saying you're ableist if you don't like the style, nobody's saying that, but disliking something and full-on bullying someone are two different things, especially if the other one caters towards projected internalized homophobia. If you don't know what I'm talking about or what the fuck Retroslop even is, it's basically a Roblox fashion that is unique. The outfits typically are in a 2000s Roblox retro-like style that are primarily cosplays from Roblox games, hence the word retro, like Forsaken, Aggravator, Something Evil Will Happen, etc. that are often extremely over-exaggerated but will still fit the said character's design and have the theme have more character than it did with the original design, taking something that is bland and turning it into something that gives the design a life. Keyword, primarily. Most of the Retroslop or OCs inspired off by the games and the characters, but a lot of them, not the OCs, are cosplays. A lot of the quote-unquote Retroslop and quote avatars that people consider to be generally Retroslop isn't even considered Retroslop in a general perspective. I don't know why people will just call anything Retroslop these days. If you want to learn more information, I suggest checking out Graps' video, linked in the description. They explain it very well. The two things I have a problem with this video is that one, the creator claims it's not a style, when it quite literally is, considering the definition of what makes a style. If that's not convincing enough, its aesthetics in every design just supposedly has same aesthetics, same theme, etc. Which last time I've checked, this quite literally makes and defines something as a style, especially if it's a trend. Speaking of style, I keep seeing people call regular retro avatars that aren't even exaggerated Retroslop, which is just really funny, or ones that are a bit exaggerated and they added like 2 or 3 things to the avatar that makes it stand out, and it's just, you're Retroslop. I just thought this would be something to point out. 2, they give unnecessary advice at the end to people who have Retroslop avatars. Like, I'm pretty sure the people who do cosplay using that retro aesthetic like avatar know what they're doing, and they're exaggerating look on purpose. It's easy to simplify something as easy as it is to make something look complex. I circle back to this point later on in the video, but I guess if people do need help with advice on how to make something look retro or whatever, then that's fine. I can't tell you how to dress your avatar, but then again, I just feel like this was something to also point out. As a disabled person, let me just explain how why calling these people who make fun of these avatars and harass people with these avatars are ableist and are homophobic and or transphobic makes sense. A lot of people who have quote-unquote retroslop end quote avatars have pride pins, most of them being primarily LGBTQ pins and some are disability pins. Mocking someone with this avatar, including with pride pins and flags, is wrong and really shouldn't go without saying, considering it's just basic common knowledge. How, one may ask? You're categorizing people who are queer and neurodivergent within the LGBTQ community to being cringe. Normalizing this bully-like kind of behavior and setting them up to be targets of bullying is what pushes this level of hatred towards the LGBTQ even further. People see the pride pins and then say typical. It's so funny to me how people literally claim to never not be homophobic are always the one at the scene of the crime, making fun of queer people. Never homophobic, but somehow when queer identity is involved, it's the same people mocking them, but then swearing on graves they're not homophobic. Last time I checked, I'm pretty sure this qualifies literally for the word prejudice, no? There's no reason not to disagree considering how I made more than enough points to suggest such a claim. Preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. That is the definition of prejudice. You're making a pre-assumed opinion, convincing but not only but to others around you that neurodivergent queer people simply expressing not only themselves but their queer identity is something that should be kept in private, because your only argument is that it's cringe just because it's something that you do not like when there's no reason to, because of the simple fact that nobody being gay is hurting you. This awful way of thinking and mindset is genuinely so harmful because it goes deeper than just not liking an avatar. The act of hatefulness can really lead to homophobia and queer people getting hurt and hate crimes happening in the real world because people see a cringy Roblox avatar with over accessories and pride flag and they start associating this level of cringe with the entirety of the LGBTQ community. Also, just to add, off script, this is like a Roblox kids game. So if you're gonna be older and you're also be teaching these other younger kids that this is wrong, you're literally setting them up to be homophobic. Like, you are setting these kids up for failure in the future. You're setting them up to be hateful. So you're a part of the problem. Retroslop is literally just a word to mock autistic people and do harm to them for simply having a sensory integration and wanting to express themselves without feeling like they're being judged, because the group of people who like a style due to emotional regulation, due to ableist people want to take away that style from them the moment they realize they just don't like neurodivergent people who simply just exist. Now, you're allowed to dislike the avatars, but mocking the style and or calling it retroslop when the category is literally just full of autistic people being self-expressional is fucking crazy. And mind you, a lot of these people who have these avatars are literally minors who are being harassed. There's other horrible shit happening in the Roblox community like predators and groomer bait avatars, which are actually harmful. Mind you, these kinds of people with those kinds of avatars are harming actual and real children, making them more impressionable towards predators online, not retroslop avatars. And this brings me to my next point. People often think of retroslop avatars to be way worse than groomer bait avatars, which is crazy to me. And yes, I've seen people actually say this. It brings up the harmful stereotype of queer people being the ones who quote-unquote harm children, who quote-unquote groom them into being like them. End quote. And unfortunately, with this amount of hate towards people wearing retroslop avatars only proves the homophobes right at the end of the day, because they'll see it's on Roblox, primarily a children's game and played mostly by children. You'd be like, see, look what them queers doing to the children. When really the ones who are denying the youth in queer spaces are the ones really harming children. Oh, retroslop is just a made up word, doesn't matter. Then why group both neurodivergent and queer people into the category of self-expression slop? This is just seems to be hateful. In conclusion of this video, retroslop in general is such a non-issue, and the fact that I had to make this video just proves we are genuinely cooked as a generation and as a society as a whole. Because tell me, why does it bother you about how people spend their own money, how people stylize their own avatar, how people choose to express themselves, especially if it's not even harming people? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.